What's up, guys? Welcome back to I Am Outraged, episode 17. God, I feel like I need to defend myself. Normally I record this on, Sunday, and it airs for you guys Tuesday. Fortunately for me, and, the sanctity of my good name, my reputation, I have an opportunity to defend myself because I'm recording on Monday, which is a great advantage. Typically, I don't have this advantage. And for those of you that tuned in today to the Sonic Truth Dynasty podcast, you're aware that I was not on the episode. In fact, my guy Ryan Lopes from Breakout Finder filled in and did a tremendous job. I mean, he did a great job. I've even been told via Twitter that we may have a podcast by committee now, that my job is in jeopardy. So I applaud Ryan for his valiant efforts in taking away my position. And, I'll look to come back next week and come back strong. I hope to God we don't go to a hot hand approach, but I can't predict it anymore. These things are unpredictable. And as you guys can see around me, and for those of you not watching, but obviously hearing, I'm going to try to edit this out. You are hearing a lot more room noise than typical. And for those of you that are watching the video, there's nothing behind me. There is literally a gray wall behind me. And this was mentioned on the podcast on Sonic Truth. So if you heard it, you know why. Yes, I am in the process of putting my home up for sale. We are building a little further away than where we live. It was something that came up somewhat suddenly, and here we are. To Matt Kelly's point, more so a dig at Ryan Lopes. No, this has not been done with Breakout Finder money. I would love for you guys to believe that somewhere out there I am making hundreds of thousands of dollars off Breakout Finder. That's just not the case. These things cost a lot of money to produce. So between you, me, and this blank wall over here, I'll let you guys in on a little secret. We've got some debt that we have to take care of before Breakout Finder ever becomes a lucrative product. But before it ever becomes lucrative, it will be validated as being highly accurate and highly sought after, in a product that you guys clearly have all purchased and you're going to keep holstered because it's going to be a great tool as we go forward. There's so much more coming. We hope to roll out the running back portion of this database, the tight end portion of this database. So at some point, you're going to have the full meal deal here. You're going to have running backs, receivers, tight ends, all in one database. And it's only going to get better as we roll it forward because you guys can look back historically and it starts to thin out as we go further and further back in time. That's because part of the app, the way it was designed, is to pull images and information from playerprofiler.com. The fact of the matter is the database that I built has every player from every year all the way back to 2000. So when you search the app and get to 2001 and you only find one or two players, that is because playerprofiler.com only has one or two players that were relevant from 2001 or 2002. Yet I've already done all the analytics, and our team as well has worked on this for every wide receiver that played as a rookie or undrafted free agent from 2000 to 2001. So there's a massive database out there. Most of that will become readily available at the time that breakoutfinder.com launches. Again, that's in the near future. It's very difficult for us to put this all together as fast as we did. We had to decide, are we going to make a website right away and give people the opportunity to use the database in a more clinical fashion, or do we want to give them more of a show? Do we want to give these people the experience of an app? And the decision was to then go with an app. And I'm glad we did. It was a great app, and it's only going to be enhanced and get better. So I'm very happy about that. But Ryan did his best to defend me on the show, and Matt was incredibly slanderous. There were numerous points on there that, once again, unsubstantiated. He threw caution into the wind and said, I'm going after Nate, because that's what he does. I was not there to defend myself. And as you guys know, There are a few analysts in this world that are willing to just go to war with Matt Kelly on every episode, and somehow I seem to do that. And whether I'm right or wrong, I like to believe that I've been right more times than wrong. I'm going to go toe-to-toe no matter what. And this Kareem Hunt argument that he's recently decided he's going to roll out in the offseason for whatever reason is that Kareem Hunt signs an extension in Kansas City and doesn't get traded at the deadline, and people are left holding the bag. But the reality of the situation is Kareem Hunt is only on a one-year deal. There's no reason for Kansas City to sign him to some astronomical payday unless they're planning on signing him for, I would assume slightly under Melvin Gordon money. Kareem Hunt is a talented running back. There's no doubt. He's going to have plenty of suitors at the NFL level. So if he wants to stay in Cleveland, which is somewhat of a dumpster fire still to this day, he can do that, but he's going to make a lot less money than if the Jets come looking for him or Team B comes looking for him. There's a lot more money out there for him. If he decides to go elsewhere, I believe he will. I also believe it's in Cleveland's best interest to sell him to another team for a reasonable pick before he decides to leave in free agency next year. It just doesn't make any sense. So yes, worst case scenario is that Kareem Hunt does stay in Cleveland, but even if he does, I'll continue to make the argument that his PPR value is still something that should be sought after. I laid out a case where 70 targets and 125 carries makes him a top 15 guy and can make him closer to a top 12, top 10 guy at that point in time with just a few touchdowns. That's what Kareem Hunt brings to the table. We like Nick Chubb, but I've laid it out before. You look at the last 8 games that they played together. Kareem Hunt outscored him in 6 of 8, was a target dominator. It's not a question. And now they're talking about Kareem Hunt playing as a wide receiver option. So there's a lot of reasons to like him. So you can buy into the fear and skip out on Kareem Hunt and let other people take him as he's already falling. He's going in the 5th round of 16-team startups. So he's going necessarily, the 7th round of 12-team startups? At what point, are you not taking him? So he's sitting there when Darius Geis is. I love Darius Geis. I prefer Darius Geis in a lot of cases. But I think that Kareem Hunt's value in the future could be significant. So at the purchase point of where you're getting him, you're not overpaying. You're not overpaying for Kareem Hunt because anybody in that same bracket is no better necessarily. I would prefer Kareem Hunt at 24 years old. It just doesn't make any sense. Complete slander on Matt Kelly's part. Oh, and then the worst of all of it is that Matt goes on to say that my Jonnu Smith take is his take from a year ago that I put on ice. What a Matt Kelly can be. Look, he knows that Matt Kelly's been back and forth on tons of topics. He knows this, and I've talked to him on the phone about this. And my point of view on Jonnu Smith is absolutely different than his because I'm pro Ryan Tannehill and he thinks Ryan Tannehill stinks. And I made the parallel between Ryan Tannehill and Teddy Bridgewater and Jimmy Garoppolo and how those yards after the catch and how sure-handed he is and how all these things pair together to create this sequence where it only takes 80 targets to give you a top 7 tight end. I don't remember that argument from Matt Kelly, but of course, in Matt Kelly fashion, he takes the blowtorch to me because I cannot defend myself, and Ryan Lopes bends the knee right in front of him. I don't know what to tell you, Ryan. You had your chance. You could have stood up for me, but you let me get smacked around. And so I got to come back next week, and I got to go back out. I have to take care of the loose ends that Ryan didn't. I have to go back out there and perform at my peak so that I don't get replaced. And I also have to go out there and clear the air that Breakout Finder is not paying for my new home. So lots of things in here, lots of problems. But I will say this, the reason that my home is so barren is because we are going to start showing it on Wednesday. Wednesday, my house goes live. I've got everything out of it. You know, it's down to show quality now. So if people come in the house, things are staged. Went and bought chairs and tables and all this nonsense, stuff that I'm not into. I hung pictures of things that I would never hang in my entire life. Like things that I'm just hoping catch people's eyes. Like you essentially have to dream on their behalf because my realtor, which she's probably right, assumes that anybody that walks into my house can't put 2 and 2 together and is going to look at a blank space and go, I don't know what to do with that space. So what do I have to do? I have to go get a rug and I have to get chairs and I have to get a table and I have to get flowers and I create a little sitting area for them. I have to think for them so that when they walk in, they go, Oh, we could put chairs there, babe. We could put a rug there. Oh, we could do that. That's a good idea. Look, the house is going to sell itself. It's a hot market. The home is, it's fine. It's a great house, okay? But we've grown out of it and it's time to move on. But again, the breakout finder did not pay for that home that I'm in or the home that I'm going to buy. So I should clear the air about that. But I will say this, when we had the lady come by today to take photos of my home so that they can be listed online, so when people go to, purchase it, they can preview it in advance, she was walking around the house and she said, wow, this house, it looks great. And I thought to myself, this is like the most rock solid sign of support that I've seen since when my daughter was born. And all the nurses came into the room and they kind of looked around real quick and they go, that's one of the cutest babies I've ever seen. And I thought to myself, you've seen a lot of babies, so you're probably right. And this lady said to me, your house looks great. So I'm like, this must be one of the most well-staged homes this woman has ever seen. I mean, I'm putting up fake plants everywhere. It looks like a fucking jungle down there. Okay, I can't even, look at these walls. These walls are empty. There's so much reverb in this room right now. I'm losing my mind. I can't even explain what's going on. All I know is we are at a shotgun pace, and it is my job to make sure that this home sells ASAP, and that's my goal. So I'm flying into it, and with that said, league number 6 has gone so differently from league number 5, the I'm Outraged League. And again, if you are interested in joining an I'm Outraged League, whether you've been in one or haven't been in one, go to my posts on Patreon, follow it down. You guys can find on the screen there, I have something that says League 6 and Beyond. You can go there. You can find a link to the Google Sheets and you can sign up. League 6 is currently in the 3rd round. I will put a link to that so you guys can watch it live. Follow along if you'd like. I would love to get a League 7 going. So let's talk about that. Hit me up if you guys have questions in a DM. But I may be having my best draft yet. And again, I'm drafting in the 113 slot. I don't know what it is about Sleeper. We randomize it every time, and somehow I end up in the 13th slot almost every time. It's crazy. I have been pick 8. I've been pick 13 like 3 times. I've been pick 16. I've been pick 14. I have not had a pick in the first 6, I don't think. I don't think I have. Not in I'm Outraged League. Maybe even in the first 7. It's very weird. I've continually been at the back. But this draft started off the best way it could. There I am at 113. I sat for a while on the clock. I didn't realize. I apologize to everybody in that league. And I went chalk. I went homer. I went with Russell Wilson at 113. How do I not take Russell Wilson in this format? In League 5, I got caught with my pants down. I was forced to take Dwayne Haskins in the 4th round. I physically felt ill after I did it. I felt like I screwed up. I let everybody down. I don't know what I was thinking. And here I am in League 6, and I got redemption. I got a second chance at life, and I took Russell Wilson at 113. No questions asked. Very simple. Here I come again, almost every single time on the turn. I'm looking at running backs, and one pick before me, there's 2 running backs left on the board that I want. I've got Nick Chubb and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You guys know I love CEH. So I'm like, I'm going to get CEH. I know I'm getting CEH. No question. This guy's going quarterback. He went Joe Mixon with his first pick. And what does Rabbit White do? Blue balls me harder than I've ever been blue balled in my life. And I've been blue balled. And I'm thinking to myself, why? Why did you do that? Why did you take Clyde Edwards 1 pick before I had an opportunity at him? Now, consolation prize, Nick Chubb at 2.4, not bad. But I have Nick Chubb everywhere. And as you guys know, the more we do Dynasty, the more we do leagues, sure, it's better to be right than have diverse teams. But at the same time, you'd like to shake it up a little bit. I would love to have had somebody other than Nick Chubb here. I've had Nick Chubb in just about every league, but you don't not take him when he falls to you. So there I am, boom. Nick Chubb at 2-4. So I got Russell Wilson. I got Nick Chubb. I love the start. And as you guys know in these leagues, when we hit the end of the second round, we've got a third round reversal. So it starts back over in the third round. So here we come. It's the third round. Couple more picks off the board. It's one pick before me. And I'm staring at DJ Moore and AJ Brown. And I'm like, man, I really love AJ Brown. But I would love DJ Moore to fall to me at this pick. Again, Rabbit White. He's in front of me. He's gone 2 running backs. I don't think he's ready to skip on quarterback here. I think he's afraid that if he skips on quarterback, it's going to be a long way back and he may not get another player. So what does he do? Boom. He goes Daniel Jones. So there I am, baby. I'm sitting at what? 3.4. I've got Russell Wilson. I've got Nick Chubb. I've got DJ Moore. I have not gotten DJ Moore in a single league. Not one of these leagues have I had DJ Moore. I've gotten AJ Brown once, but I've never had DJ Moore. It is so difficult to construct a roster in this format and end up with one of those receivers. I've had Juju a couple times because Juju slides a little bit. But the premium on AJ Brown and DJ Moore makes them near impossible to select. But there I was at 3-4. And this board, it broke well for me. So I got Russell Wilson, Nick Chubb, and DJ Moore. And I'm confident. Now I've got an elite player in each tier, in each positional group. Now I have confidence in how I'm going to play this game. So what's going to happen when it comes back to me? I don't know. I'd like to make a trade. But that was one of my favorite starts, the diversity of it. I've taken multiple running backs and a quarterback. I've taken a tight end and 2 quarterbacks, but I've never gone 1, 2, 3 positionally. I like it. I've got an elite player at each position, so I feel good about this. My queue is totally empty, though. There's not a chance that I'm getting the players that I wanted out of there. They're getting wiped out. They're getting eviscerated. I enjoy this draft the most so far because it's a bit unpredictable where some of these guys are falling. Cam Akers almost fell out of the second round. He was 1 pick from not being in the second round. I haven't seen that in any other draft yet. So whether this draft is the most off base or the most accurate, it's yet to be determined. But it is one of the funnest ones I've been in thus far. So league number 7, let's pull it together. If you guys have friends that you've told this league about and they want to get in one or you want to join another one, let's make it happen. I'm down to make more leagues. I'm having a lot of fun. Like I said, I'll continue to get into these leagues as long as I've got fresh bodies that haven't been in one yet because I'm having a good time. And League 5 was the one that I told you guys that I made mistakes. I played with fire a little too long and, I had to course correct. I only had 1 quarterback in League 5. And I got to round 8 and I said, look, I need a quarterback. I need a quarterback with upside. And Cam Newton was staring me in the face. This is before Cam Newton signed with New England. Look, we all knew Cam Newton was young. Cam Newton was, an elite talent at one point in his career. And yes, now he's a bit older and he's had some injuries, of course. We know he missed the majority of all of last year for the most part. And here he is at 31 and a half years old, basically, and he signs a contract with New England. Now, I will never again get him where I got him in this draft or in any draft. I got him at 8.8. In a couple of other drafts, I saw him go at round 10, round 11, round 12. Cam Newton going in round 12. I mean, I was watching Jordan Love go before him. I was watching Jameis Winston go before him. All these guys. Mariota went before him one time. So when Cam Newton was sitting there at 8.8 and I needed a quarterback, I had to do the math. Do I want Phillip Rivers, who might have 1 or 2 years left? Do I want Jordan Love, who might be sitting for 2 years? Do I want Jameis Winston, who I'm not even sure is the actual backup in New Orleans? No. I want Cam Newton. I watched Jared Stidham go 4 picks before I took Cam Newton. 4 picks before I took Cam Newton. Think about that. And in just a matter of days, Jared Stidham, his value is tanked. Now, I know there's people out there that think that Cam Newton isn't going to be good and that Jared Stidham's going to win his job back. But remember, they signed Cam Newton for $7.5 million. So Cam's getting opportunities. That's happening. That's not going away anytime soon. And Bill Belichick loves Cam Newton. Look, He's been a fan of his game for a very long time. Let me read you a quote from Belichick from 2017. He says, Cam makes good decisions. He can run. He's strong. He's hard to tackle. He can do a lot of different things. He can beat you in a lot of different ways. We saw that in the game down there in 2013. So I would put him at the top of the list. Not saying the other guys aren't a problem, because they are, but he's public enemy number one. Bill Belichick loves Cam Newton. Bill Belichick has had to deal with a player like Cam Newton just recently. Again, I just wrote an article and posted it on Patreon. It's about Cam Newton. I break down some of the facts of the situation. And I talk about even down to what they had to deal with when they were facing Lamar Jackson last year in Week 9. Look, they lost on the road to Baltimore against Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson rushed 16 times for 61 yards. Not that great, but 2 touchdowns. And then through the air, 23 pass attempts, 17 completions, 163 pass yards, 1 passing touchdown, and 0 interceptions. Bill Belichick understands the dynamism of a guy like Lamar Jackson. He's seen a guy like Colin Kaepernick. He's seen the elusiveness of these players and how difficult they are to play. And maybe similar to the argument about having dynasty teams with a little bit of variance, maybe that's what Belichick sees with Cam Newton. Look, he doesn't need Cam Newton to be able to make every single throw on the field every single time. Tom Brady has changed over time, drastically from his talent level and ability and physical skills. But they found a way. Look at Julian Edelman. Julian Edelman has always been the supplement to the run. Now they've got a mobile quarterback. How does that change things? They draft 2 tight ends. This thing has been in the works for a long time. If you don't believe me, go to Scott Barrett's timeline. Scott Barrett released a DM that he had with LG Sports Insider from back in April. And he was talking about Cam Newton. And he says, it's been a while. And this is after Scott Barrett asked him what the next big scoop is. And LG Sports Insider says, it's been a while, but I've got a big scoop for you. Cam to the Patriots. Hammer the money line, plus 170. Cam to the Pats bet. And I'm sure the Pats win total will change soon. He says, yes, thank you. What were they waiting on? Just him to see the doctors, COVID-19? That's exactly what it was. Look, the Patriots and Cam Newton has been in the works for months and months and months. Belichick knew. Look, this DM came just days after the NFL draft. Days after Bill Belichick drafted 2 tight ends. We've seen Cam Newton with Greg Olsen over the years. Now you add Julian Edelman. This necessarily bumps N'Keal Harry, right? This is a huge advantage for N'Keal Harry. And Cam Newton, I mean, you would have to take it all the way back to 2018. But even Cam Newton in 2018 played a lot better than given credit for. Number 5 in true completion percentage. Number 5 in red zone completion percentage. I mean, even his deep ball completion percentage was better than average. So this was a guy that was playing on a better level than most people even remember. And as it's been noted, his carries, he had 101 carries, which is number 2 at the position. That's the upside of Cam Newton. It's the rushing upside. But people are going to say, well, the Patriots, they don't have any salary cap. Well, Pat Thorman, again, if you read my article on Patreon, he brought this to light. He said, look, the Patriots have $1.6 million this year in cap space, by far the least in the league. Tampa Bay is only second with $4.9 million. But they project next year to have the 4th most cap space, roughly $90.6 million. So what do? They're not punting for Trevor Lawrence. They're going for the throat. That's what Belichick is doing. All these people that thought that Bill was going to sit back and wait and rebuild. No, that's not what Bill is doing. Bill's going for the W right now. And what better way to do it than go get Cam Newton? All these other teams made mistakes. The Bears made mistakes. They could have had Cam Newton. Instead, they went a different route. I don't understand these things. So Cam is available. And the Patriots get him for $7.5 million, which is an absolute steal on a 1-year deal. And if Cam plays well, And Bill Belichick finds a way to mesh the dynamism of a player like Cam Newton with his style of offense and the playmakers that are around him, then it's a huge win. And perhaps he does re-sign in New England. But nobody would be surprised if he didn't. He could literally go anywhere else. If he plays well in 2020, then his career has a resurgence and he goes and gets signed elsewhere. I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. But if he stays in New England and plays well, this could be one of the most exciting eras for Bill Belichick. Again, it's a chance for Bill Belichick to have a different type of chess piece on the field. He's had Tom Brady for nearly 2 decades. Not a mobile quarterback, cerebral quarterback, very intelligent quarterback. Clearly the greatest of all time, you could argue. He is the greatest of all time. But now he has a player that they're going to have to build with that brings a skill set and an ability to the field that Tom Brady has never had. And it's an exciting time in New England. I would be as nervous as I am excited. Yes, if you're a New England fan, you're nervous. Cam Newton, I don't know. He could stink. But I don't think he will. I think the pieces are in place to make sure that Cam Newton is a borderline success in New England. I mean, we've seen even Matt Castle step in and be successful. Now, will Cam Newton be a massive fantasy asset? I'm not sure. Because as I brought up in this article again, even Tom Brady last year, if you were chasing the Tom Brady passing volume, 613 pass attempts, and hoping that that will necessarily carry over to Cam Newton, be prepared to get let down. Because over Cam Newton's career, he's never even come close to that. He's never even exceeded 517 pass attempts in a single year. And over Tom Brady's 18 years playing quarterback, qualified years, where he played enough games in New England, he averaged 554 pass attempts per year. So the odds of Cam Newton seeing elite passing opportunity are likely not going to happen. However, the same way that Lamar Jackson's being used, we can see Cam Newton getting used. I don't see it changing that much. Now, I'm not saying that Cam Newton is going to rush 180 times in a year. No, but the idea that Cam could rush between 75 and 100 times and stay on par with about the typical rushing availability that he had while he was in Carolina, that's very much in play. Cam just needs to be able to make the throws the way that they're called. And I think Bill Belichick is going to dial up easy play calling for Cam Newton. I think Cam Newton will be a success in New England. I'm not as scared as other people are. Now, the other side of the coin is, if you own Cam Newton, the hype has never been greater. I mean, it's never been greater because people are talking about this incredible pairing. We've never seen this Frankenstein comparing. The mind of Bill Belichick, the creativity of Bill Belichick, the ingenuity to work his way around any hurdle that's in front of him. And then the skill set of Cam Newton, the rushing ability, the goal line presence. He brings so much to the table. You put these two together and I don't even know what it makes. But it's exciting. And look, in Cam Newton's history as a fantasy quarterback, in the last 4 active seasons he played, he finishes the QB1 overall and the QB2 overall. Suddenly you pair him with the greatest coach in history and put him with a potent offense. I think this is a boost to Sony Michel. I think it's a boost to Damian Harris if you like him as well. I think that you have to like this run game now with the mobile quarterback. I think it's a boost for N'Keal Harry. Honestly, it's an absolute boost for N'Keal Harry. Because I think Cam Newton is going to look at him as his wide receiver 1. I think Julian Edelman is still going to have a presence, so there's a lot to like here. But I think that we have to be realistic about Cam Newton's passing opportunities. I think that Cam Newton doesn't exceed 530 pass attempts in this offense, but I'm also not sure that he rushes to the same level that he did while he was in Carolina. So I think it's fair to assume that we see Cam Newton rushing 75, 80 times next year. And we see Cam Newton throwing somewhere between 485 and 520 times. I think that's fair. And that's enough for Cam Newton to finish as a top 10 quarterback. His legs are where he wins. That's what he does. He's done it over the course of his career. When he finishes the QB1 overall, he blew Tom Brady out by almost 50 points on the year. So Cam Newton brings a dynamic to the field that very few quarterbacks can. And we should be incredibly excited about this going into the year. But here's where we're at. If you own Cam Newton, times have never been better, baby. If you want to sell, you can sell you're getting a blank check from another owner, especially in Superflex leagues, because the hype is through the roof. People are salivating. They want Cam Newton. They want him bad. Watch where he starts going in startup drafts. I got him at 8.8. Typically, he went later than that. Cam Newton is about to go in the first 4 rounds. It's over. The free square of Cam Newton is over. You had to get him when you could get him. It's over now. But in Superflex leagues, if you own him, this is your best opportunity of all time to sell. Because it's only really down from here. Because if you think of where we are with Cam Newton's peak, let's say his peak value right now is 85, 90%. The only thing that can make Cam Newton more valuable, and I would argue it won't make him that much more valuable, is if he signs a long-term deal after playing a good year in 2020. I think that's when we go from 85% value to 100% value. And at that point, you necessarily rank him back inside. I would say he goes back inside the top 10, top 12 quarterbacks because he's young. He'll be 32 at the end of next year. He's still a young quarterback in this league, and he's still dynamic. So if he can have more of a presence as a passer and protect himself and reduce these injuries, you have to love the rushing upside. He's built to rush. He's physically built to rush. He's 6'5", 215 pounds or 250 pounds. He's not Kyler Murray size. He's not a svelte quarterback. He's not small. He's built. This is what he does. This is the guy at the goal line that hammers it through. Those Tom Brady 1-yard sneaks, Cam Newton's getting 5 yards. This is what Cam does. This is what he brings to the table. And we should be very excited about this. Now, if you guys are buying into the hype and you're trying to buy Cam Newton, it's going to be a struggle. I would wait until the offseason or till the preseason program starts to go, if there is one, and I would wait till we hear any semblance of a quarterback controversy. Jarrett Stidham is getting snaps with the first team. Cam Newton this. That's when it dies down a little. So if you want to buy Cam Newton, that's when you buy him. You absolutely do not buy Cam Newton right now. He is at peak value. Do not touch him. With that being said, Jarrett Stidham just became a value. Because Jarrett Stidham was, by all accounts, going to be the starter. But if we follow the breadcrumbs back, Cam Newton has for months been the guy that Bill Belichick has been chasing. But with the injury history and the rushing propensity, and maybe the chance that Cam Newton just isn't good in 2020, Jarrett Stidham is a player that I still want to roster behind him. So if you can get him now as a value, that's what you do. You buy him and you wait. You sit on him. He's the backup quarterback, presumably. And again, with an injury, with any inaccuracy, with any head bumping, anything on a 1-year deal for Cam Newton, and it could be over like that. So there's a lot of volatility in this situation. So to me, that's where I'm going back to the well. I'm buying Stidham if I can get him, and I'm not paying a lot for him. And you shouldn't have to, especially with the hype of Cam Newton. But you need to let it die down a little bit. Because a lot of people are going to realize the tactic if you go after Jarrett Stidham now. Now, is Jarrett Stidham going to be good? I don't know. I don't believe in Jarrett Stidham that much. But again, as I've said multiple times, it's about buying a little bit of real estate and selling it and flipping it as fast as you possibly can. And that is what is going to happen with a guy like Jarrett Stidham if Cam Newton goes down. Suddenly a contender needs a quarterback. Their quarterback went down, or they had Cam Newton. Whatever it is, that's when you make your play. So as we've seen before, Cam Newton has been a mixed bag of fantasy football finishes. He's been the quarterback 13, the quarterback 17, the quarterback 1, the quarterback 2, outside the top 20. There's been a variability of finishes with him, but you have to love the upside. So for me, getting him at the 8th round, I'm going to sit back. I'm willing to sell him, but I'm also very interested in stepping into 2020 with him. But being the player that I am, being the buyer and seller of ultimate value, you can bet your ass what I am going to do is sell Cam Newton at his peak for a treasure trove of value, and I'm going to walk myself right into the 2021 draft, and I'm going to buy whatever quarterback I want.